Turned 70, what's so special here? 1,000 miles north of Honolulu, flocks of bright white seabirds roam the island's bare fields, each drinking a soda it is perched on a concised egg. Both males and females alike have charcoal-stained eyes and 6.5 feet of chocolatey brown feathers. But one bird stands out, Wisdom. Wearing a red ankle strap Z333, it turns at least 70 years old this year and is known as the oldest wild bird in history. US biologist John Prissner said, "It's always a relief when Wisdom appears." They know she was called in 1956 as part of a long-term research project that identified more than 260,000 albatross since the late 1930s. And they know she laid eggs in late November and hatched fluffy chicks on February 1st, as she has done for at least 8 of the last 11 years. Learn why birds are important and worth protecting. But there is still much that scientists don't know about Wisdom and its species. "I have no idea," says Prissner. She doesn't even know if she's an exception. For the past 15 years, Prissner and his team have been ringing lice on albatross chicks and recording the band numbers of nesting albatrosses on 50 by 50 meter plots. Information about their lifespan. The challenge, he says, is that albatrosses are so long-lived that they can easily outlive researchers. As Wisdom did. Her UW's biologist, Chandler Robbins, called her in 2017 when she died at the age of 98. Read more about Wisdom and her chicks. Wise bird. Wisdom says she could be over 70 years old. In 1956, she was conservatively estimated at 5 years old, the earliest age at which a lice-on albatross reaches sexual maturity. In 2002, Robbins was on his way back to Midway when he noticed an albatross that needed replacing its tattered ribbon. He immediately realized 2 things about him. That he had already birded her in 1956, and that at 51 she was a record breaker. At the time, biologists estimated the lice-on albatross lifespan to be 40 years. Having escaped recent human threats such as climate change, plastic pollution and ocean warming from fishing lines, plus deadly tsunamis and albatross perils such as sharks, to name a few, she said, Wisdom in her name. Since then, Wisdom has become a darling of the internet at home and abroad. In Hawaii, the lice-on albatross, known as the mali, is an important part of Aboriginal culture as a symbol of Lono, the god of rain and agriculture. Honolulu Fish and Wildlife Department wildlife biologist Beth Flint says her fame draws attention to the dangers facing seabirds and lice-on albatross in particular. Learn more about the global decline of seabirds. A bird with a lifespan comparable to that of a human, says Flint. Silent mother. Each fall, after spending several months at sea to begin the next breeding season, lice-on albatrosses return to midair. Back on the way, the island's skies go from relatively empty to teeming with birds, cruising above a turquoise lagoon with long narrow wings. Lice-on albatross population in the world about 70% of the population, an estimated 1.6 million, nest at Midway, a 2-square-mile military base used in World War II. Biologists counted about 492,000 nests in 2020. This is a slight increase from the previous year. Each pair of lice-on albatross builds a hive on the ground by scraping a circle of twigs, leaves, and sand about 3 feet in diameter. Once the female has laid her one egg, the two share parenting responsibilities, taking turns foraging for days to weeks and feeding the chicks with a slurry of regurgitated fish or squid. Chicks first fly out to sea in midsummer and do not return to land for 3 to 5 years. They then go back and forth for several more years, performing elaborate courtship dances and looking for mates with whom to form long-term bonds. According to Prissner, her personality is very reserved, as you would expect from a seasoned mother who has laid more than 40 eggs in her lifetime. See the National Geographic images of mother and baby animals. She spends a lot of time sleeping in her nest, says Prissner. Albatross concern. A new concern for Laysan albatross on Midway Island is invasive rodents that attack and injure hatched adults. Their eggs. Biologists at the Fish and Wildlife Service hope to eradicate these mice in the same way they do rats, but it's a complicated task. Pollution is also a problem. Sharp shards of plastic make landfall in the Pacific Ocean in large numbers each year, and can pierce the intestines of birds, causing them to die. Read how nearly every seabird on Earth eats plastic. But albatrosses may have biological advantages over other seabirds. Nevertheless, the Laysan albatross, which experts at the International Union for Conservation of Nature have classified as endangered, it is not yet known what other effects the plastic may have. And as the North Pacific warms and becomes more acidic, these changes could also affect squid and other albatross populations. Squid populations may be declining or areas may be shifting, which could affect food supplies for birds, says Flint. Scientists need more data on the Laysan albatross and its behavior in order to manage it properly and protect the species over the long term. Seabirds are easily found on land. It is large, nests on the seabed, and never hides. But they feel most comfortable in the ocean, far from the investigative eyes of researchers. This is where new technology comes into play. Biologists now use a variety of satellite-mounted tags attached to the backs of birds' wings or to bands around their ankles to provide specific data about where birds fly. Rob Surian, a marine ecologist who studies seabirds at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Alaska Fisheries Science